Welcome to Not Like This. Not Like This. From professional wrestling, horror films, and everything in between. Strap in. And now your hosts, Dale Zawada and Jim Snedeker Jr.
Vince McMahon did the big welcome to WrestleMania.
It was pretty good.
He got the welcome to WrestleMania.
He couldn't do the talking beforehand, though.
The preamble was a bit of a struggle. He's old. He's 85 and a half years old. His face is 4 years old.
Yeah, that's a weird juxtaposition.
That his plastic surgery, it must be recent. I don't remember him looking so plasticky last time I saw him.
Yeah, when I watched the thing that we just talked about, I was a little taken aback. I thought, geez, pal, goddamn, pal, your face is, what happened to it? It used to be so goddamn vascular. And
you had the corpse voice coming out of the baby face body. It was so weird. I didn't like it. He's WWE superstars, and we do everything we can for you. Fuck COVID. Fight for the WWE. Fight for us. Please fight for us. It's like when 9/11 happened. They're like,
please clap.
Yeah, it's just, like back the blue. It's like, back the Fed. Just back us. I hate that. I hate that company sometimes. But WrestleMania, they did it. They did a WrestleMania. It was a 2-night extravaganza. Again, last year it was a 2-nighter, but it was at the Performance Center because COVID was fresh and it was just a very strange world.
It was.
This year, they're like, all right, we're going to be outdoors. It's going to be a thunderstorm. We're going to have several rain delays, but fuck it.
Was their whole, that had to be part of the plan, right? Let's have it outdoors, and then we can say COVID doesn't work outdoors.
COVID. Fuck these fans. They had to go in and out so many times. Like, all right,
they kept doing rain delays, right?
Saw some lightning, so get back inside. All right, you can come back out. Just kidding. JK, LOL, get back inside now. They did that to those poor bastards a handful of times. I would have been frustrated.
Did anyone slip because it was wet or anything?
Only one slip that I saw at WrestleMania. So the corners of like the ring, like those areas, like you could see they were damp and wet. And I was very nervous. I was very scared. Yeah. But the only slip happened on the entrance ramp, which is understandable. I think it was Mandy Rose, one of the hot blondes that they've got, and she just whoop right on her butt, little whoopsie doodle. And if that's the worst that happens, that's not bad.
Yeah, it was I saw it on Instagram, and it was that was the only one I saw. I didn't know if there was more.
And she looked,
her partner just kept going. Was like, God damn it, bitch! What are you doing? Get up!
Yeah, we got 2.5 minutes. Fuck up. That's with our entrance. So go. And she looked so shocked and like offended, like, oh, I can't believe it. It's like, I can.
Were they heels though?
I don't think they have alignments.
They don't do that anymore. Heels.
Just...
Come on, pal. This is 2021. Everyone's in the middle.
Everything's a shade of gray, except for my face. Look how fresh and pink it is.
If you slip and you're a heel, that might just work for you, unless you're like a Brock Lesnar or an Undertaker in the back in the day. But if you were like Mr. Perfect, or if you're like a heelish,
well, not Mr. You don't want that.
Well, no, but I mean like a guy that talks and is like just a regular athlete wrestler person, and you slip, then they could play into your hand.
Oh, yeah,
everyone
like
laughs
a Miz.
Shut up. Yeah.
Or someone more useless like a Jeff Jarrett. That would work well. He can just have a temper tantrum.
Oh, I'd love to see Bob Holly.
Oh yes,
see Bob Holly fall right on his ass.
I'd hate if it was Taker or Brock.
Sure, right? Yeah, that'd be terrible. You imagine Stone Cold, the glass breaks, and he's doing his little.
He's
got his little head bob.
Times. He's done some goofy shit, like when he rode the office chair down the ramp, and then it fell, and he does a tumble.
I forgot about it.
And then he saves it by slamming the beers together and drinking the beers. Like, that's going to save anything.
Oh.
Yeah, that era
Didn't he drive a Zamboni in once or some shit?
Yeah, the beer
The
truck,
beer truck.
Zambonis. Yeah, I think they did both because they're like, how do we do it again but different?
Taker's motorcycle would stall out.
That was fantastic. Yep, that was not a good look. I think the next week he was regular Taker. They're like, well, this is dead in the water.
Or when Goldberg's car wouldn't start. Oh
Yep,
my God.
Goldberg's car not starting.
He had to go run after somebody on foot that was in a car.
Oh, miscues. I love them. I love a good wrestling miscue.
I don't know.
Where the fuck is Vicky? That's one of my favorites.
There's so many good ones.
There's so many good mishaps.
Oh yeah,
There's one not too long ago. It was at the end of a match. Two really good guys. There's supposed to be a big explosion in the middle of the ring, and then there wasn't a big explosion in the middle of the ring.
I think I maybe have heard of this one.
Yeah, it was a recent one. Mishaps in wrestling. But yeah, so a thunderstorm, like back-to-back days of terrible weather. It's Florida. Hello. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often when they do this stuff. I'm also surprised they didn't pick a location that has a roof that's optional. Like these domes, these stadiums. Well, you don't want to trap the COVID in there.
Yeah, no.
That's what the COVID wants. The COVID's like, good, close the doors.
No, that's everyone's magic. I mean, the magic wand last year was well, it's summer, we're outside. No COVID out here.
Not a drop of it. Cases are on the rise, but people have the vax a little bit, so
yeah, we're
who cares, I guess.
We're fighting it off. I am personally. I don't mean as a country. Well, there's so many people that don't even want it. And I'm like, why am I convincing you to get it? Oh, yeah, for the people who can't get it, that might die because you're selfish.
And I keep hearing all these stories about people, friends, family, just folks who have children or people at risk in their lives, but then it's holiday season. We just had Easter, which I was told it would be gone by Easter, so this is some bullshit.
Yeah, and that was two Easters ago.
Oh. But it's like, yeah, I've got a mother-in-law coming over. She doesn't like these masks and all this business, and I got this newborn. And I'm like, that's the scariest shit. And you told her you can't come over, right? No, she's gonna be there. She said she's gonna stay 6 feet away. And I'm like, say 6 states away. Stay the fuck away from me. And it's like, that's terrifying because I always expect that's how those stories are going to end. Oh, so I told her she could not come over. End of story. And I'm like, oh, that's good. But they never end like that. It's, yeah, we're totally they're going to do this thing and put people at risk. And it's nuts, man. Fuck off.
You really have to know who it is that's in your bubble. Like before we went back to work, we would still go between our house and my in-laws' house. They live next door. So this is before I had to go back to work. But then once I had to go back to work, it was like, well, we don't know. We know that none of us are going anywhere, but we don't know where anyone else is going.
Mm-hmm.
You really got to keep your bubble tight. And now everyone thinks it's just a joke. Out here in Indiana, masks went from mandatory to an advisory on April 7th.
Oh, my God.
And
what does that mean? So it's just not...
It means...
no masks.
Yes, exactly. So before, what it meant was if you didn't want to wear a mask, you didn't have to because no one was going to make you. And now it means you just don't even bring a mask anywhere.
Or an advisory. It's more a guideline.
I mean, and I'm not, that's not hyperbole. When it was mandatory, many, many, many people did not bother to wear a mask. Even though all the businesses said you have to wear a mask, people would go in with no mask. And then it's like a gas station with a clerk. What are they supposed to do? Call the police every time someone walks in without a mask? That would be like 5 times on the hour. So they just say, "Hey, we need you to put a mask on, please." I don't have one. okay, can you make sure you bring one next time? You know, like, what are you supposed to do if you're in the clerk's position and it's not
You
like,
say,
I
"Oh,
own the store?
if you're a store or company worth the shit, you go, oh, well, we have these disposable ones. Here you go.
Yeah, they did that before. I've seen that.
Here it is.
And then I've seen people just refuse to take them. Like, no, I'm not wearing one. You
And
can't
then
make me either.
And then they leave in a normal state. They just leave. I saw it this weekend again. I love it. Like, you have to wear a mask. And she was like, oh, okay, well, goodbye then. And I was like, good. Stay away from me. I love it.
Out here, though, it didn't work that way. And now it's gone down from the governor's mandating it to it's an advisory. So we recommend that you still do it, but you don't have to.
What a pussyfoot move.
So the businesses all still kept their signs up, because if you were a big chain or something, you don't want that coming back down on you. Like there was some COVID outbreak at McDonald's or something, right? So all the businesses still have the signs up. You have to wear a mask and 6 feet apart and blah, blah, blah. But now people are like, it's not even a mandate anymore. I'm like, bitch, you weren't wearing one when it was a mandate. So now there's like, 30% of people are indoors where I go are wearing them. And before it was like 70%.
Cases are on the rise. I can't figure out why. People are just so horny for the spring and summer. It's like, well, you might not have a spring or summer.
Right.
Keep acting that way. At least there's going to be a couple less people at your family barbecue. Ooh. Save money on buns.
More brisket for me, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Give me that brisket.
What else happened at Mania? Mania. Nothing really. They did the Bray Wyatt thing. So Bray Wyatt, whatever. He's a monster. He's got the cool mask. Then
Savini makes them.
Yeah, and then he got set on fire a couple months ago.
His own doctor.
So he had like a burned up mask and like a burned up outfit. It was kind of cool. They never really showed him in the ring all that often because I'm sure it looks kind of silly. But with the theatrics, it's fine. And it was pretty neat because in his entrance, he's all burned up. He's all burned up. And then, they do some weird on-screen effects. And then, wouldn't you know it, he's back to normal. So he's back to his original cool mask look. So that's how they fixed that.
Oh, through magic? Through monster magic? Okay.
They're like, all right, we're done with the burn shit now. He's back to normal. I was like, okay, thank you, I guess. No rules or anything to this. We're just doing what we want.
Well,
and then he
Undertaker
wrestles.
did ascend into heaven.
But it made sense.
Through the Titantron.
God damn it made sense. And then he wrestles Randy Orton, and Randy Orton just beats him with an RKO in like 7 minutes.
So he has magic powers and regenerated his fascial tissue, but he just got RKO'd. That's how devastating the Diamond Cutter is.
Out of nowhere. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense because there was one match at I think it was a Royal Rumble a couple years ago, but he fights Seth Rollins. And this is when the Bray Wyatt Fiend character was new. And Seth Rollins hit him with curb stomp after Falcon Arrow, after curb stomp and chairs. And he just couldn't kill this man. He couldn't down him. And it was all to build up, Bray Wyatt. Like, oh my God. And it fast forward to WrestleMania and one RKO and he's done. And people booed. Like, what the fuck is all of this? Like, they booed the match. They booed the booking. They booed the wrestlers involved. They were just like, we can't sign off on any of this. I appreciated it.
That's very interesting. And you mentioned they booed another WWE Universe superstar when he came out, which kind of surprised me.
Titus O'Neil came out to do some intro stuff, some bits, and he came out with the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan. And this is in Florida, and he lives there. He's got properties and restaurants there, but they didn't give a shit. He came out and they booed Hulk Hogan. Ooh, when he walks out, when he started to talk, especially because, he's racist. And he's coming out with Titus O'Neil, who's a black man. And oh man, that they're trying to do. They're doing some damage control sort of thing. And Titus O'Neil, he's also from there, and he's more of a claim to it, like football stuff and community stuff. He actually does things there instead of just property.
Instead of just not paying taxes.
And he's like, I love Florida and this and that. And we're gonna have a good time. And then it's Hulk Hogan's turn. He's like, and let me tell you something, brother Titus. And they're just like, boo, fuck you.
I never would have guessed that in a million years, that the wrestling audience is, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but is that woke that they boo the Hulkster at a WrestleMania in Florida.
Yeah, because he's
good. You know what? Good for them.
Unless they go deep south, he's going to get booed anywhere then. That's what that tells me.
Well, they don't like him anyway in the deep south. You know, the deep south people are like, bring back the fucking real wrestling.
Yeah.
None of this fucking Hulkamania bullshit.
He's always doing those high-risk maneuvers like that leg drop. Stay on the ground. Always jumping.
Because he's not like a southern type guy, you know? So they don't like him either.
I think he came up in Minnesota and all that business.
You would
say it. You don't like Hulk Hogan.
No, I used to love Hulk Hogan, but I don't know. What do you do now? You already like sort of just deleted on the website that he was in the Hall of Fame, but you didn't take him out of the Hall of Fame. And then you just sort of waited a while and he's back. And I would imagine they're thinking, WWE's thinking, pronouns, pal. I would imagine they're thinking it's been a year since we've done any big events. WrestleMania was all like pre-taped last year. WrestleMania is back. Everyone's going to be so happy that maybe we can get a big pop for Hogan and we'll just forget about all the N-word stuff. And nope, everyone says we remember.
We remember.
It's got to be it, right? There's nothing else recently that happened.
We terminate. Yeah, maybe it was just like a testing of the waters. Like, you know, the fans are back. They're going to be hyped up to see anybody, all these legends. No, not all of them. Well, yeah, but I like it. I do like that, you know, trashy, you know, wrestling fans, even that audience is like, nah.
Yeah, too woke.
Sorry, we're done here, bro. I'm sorry.
I mean, you don't really have to be that woke. And they there was the apology tour that happened where someone would just interview a black wrestler to say something nice about Hulk Hogan, which is cheap. Is this his first appearance since all that happened? Because maybe that's where they fucked up. Maybe you needed him to be on Raw and like apologize on TV.
I don't even know if it was. I just think it's been a while. It might be. Don't know. Just there's this Hulk Hogan fatigue. We're done. Your restaurant sucks.
The Hall of Fame wasn't live, right? So he didn't get. We don't know if he got booed there.
Right? Yeah, that was just staff and stuff. So nothing but big pops for everyone. Oh, it's the Bellas. Yeah, great. Ah, it's great, Khali. Even better. No, Ozzy Osbourne couldn't be here. That was dang.
Were the other NWO members there?
Not all of them, but Hall was there. Nash, Kid, and Hogan.
That's what I meant. Like the four that they put in.
Yeah. Scott Hall wasn't looking good.
Well,
Scott Hall was not looking good. It was kind of like an old, they're old.
Yeah.
But he had the old man look where he had an NWO shirt on because, you know, most of them did. But like the neck hole was like twice as big as it should have been. And it's just like, it had such an old man look.
That's
like he's
really
just cooking up eggs. Like, just.
Maybe he's healthy though. Maybe he's just old, you know, and not getting jacked up on steroids anymore.
I hope he had a relapse and that's why he looked like that. Because if he's fine Scott Hall. I don't know if he's gonna make it to next year's Mania, and I want him to. So I'm hoping he fucked up, hit the drugs in the sauce, and he's gonna get off of it again and get actually healthy. It goes in spurts. Nobody just cold turkeys the rest of their days. It's gonna happen. You're gonna slip up, and you just straighten up the shit. I wish it wasn't right before Mania, but I'm rooting for the bad man.
Maybe he's just falling apart. Maybe he's got nerve damage. Maybe he hit DDP yoga too hard and he pulled a nerve or something.
Maybe.
That'll shrink you. That'll shrink you up. Yeah, those guys don't stay big forever either.
Nash was looking pretty big. Hogan's shrinking. Scott Hall's shrinking. Kid's fine.
Yeah.
They were doing these bits. This shit was hilarious. So rain delay, mania, right? Like literally show starts a half an hour late pretty much. So the first half hour, they're just doing impromptu, backstage interviews and promos. So not a lot of scripted stuff. They were great. They were so much fun. They were such a good time. And one of them was the NWO. And then Bailey shows up and she's a heel. And she's like, too sweet me brothers and all this. And the gag is they're like, nah, we're, that we're good. We're straight. And she's going to get kind of upset sort of thing. Except for, and it's, unscripted. And Kid's like, I'm actually a really big fan. And he too sweets her. And he just starts fucking laughing. I was like, this is silly. And I love it. I love the unscripted stuff.
New World Order. Well, that's, man. So how does it work now? Is it like the UFC where you have to subscribe to Peacock and then pay extra for WWE stuff?
I don't believe so. I think if you just have Peacock, you have access to the pay-per-views, I think, and whatever their library is. Because it's not like the old network. It's more limited affair. I haven't really even dug into it very much.
And is the old network just gone? Like you can't even watch what they don't have on Peacock?
I believe so.
That's so stupid. God, I'm so glad I didn't get it. I was like teetering on getting the network again.
Well, there's no network to get because I was actually looking to cancel it.
That's what I'm saying. Like if I got it like a month and a half ago, it would just
they would have given
gone.
you money. Yeah, they would have. Yeah, because that's what my thing. Because I was like, I got to cancel this, otherwise I'm going to be paying for this subscription that doesn't exist. And it just said starting April 9th, the WWE Network is on Peacock. Like there's no more billing to be had for you, sir. And I was like, good. I'm keeping an eye on you though, Vince. You fucking carny. I know you're coming for my credit card number. Son of a gun.
He's gonna bring back the 900 line.
But if you have Comcast, you just have Peacock. So, and that's the scenario that I fall in. So I'm having a good old time. I just have it. I just have it.
Yeah, I don't get Peacock. I get HBO Max. So I'm not gonna cry. If I have AT&T fiber, so I get that. So I get something.
Yeah, everybody's got to have, some sort of freebie there. HBO Max is a good one. I just heard about some show they have, an animated show called Primal, and it's supposed to be really good. I think it started as like an Adult Swim thing. Anyway, it's on HBO Max. It's supposed to be pretty good. Check it out. Doing plugs early. Speaking of plugs, I got another plug for you guys. I'm going to be plugging up a YouTube channel called Miami Boat Ramps.
What?
It's Miami Boat Ramps, and it's about Miami boat ramps. It's just people loading and unloading their boats poorly into these waters, and it's hilarious. Sometimes there's arguments or drunk people are crashing, and it's a good time.
This looks hilarious. That could be good.
They're like 10-minute clips, and the guy's kind of doing some commentary over it. And it's a great time. I never.
How did this guy's car get in there? What the fuck?
Miami Boat Ramps, all down the rabbit hole, folks. You're welcome.
Jesus.
And everybody. What I learned.
SUV in the water.
And what I learned is fucking everybody's got a boat or a wave runner in Miami. Holy cow.
Yeah, it looks like it. Jesus.
Everybody
in the club driving in the water. This thumbnail I'm looking at doesn't even make sense. It's just a dock, like a pier big enough for a person to walk on. I don't see any dock anywhere. And there's just a SUV in the water.
Goofed.
Whoops.
Miami. And the best, putting your boat into the water, That's tricky. Either you wobble, you try to line it up. Those are always fun to watch because I'd struggle as well. I would eat so much shit, and if I saw this guy's camera out, I would just leave and go home because I know I would make the channel.
Mm-hmm.
But these people get in, they go and do their thing, and you know what they do? They get fucking loaded out there on the water.
Oh, yeah.
So the real entertainment is when they come back and they're super hammered and they're trying to tie off and all this shit. It's great because they're hammered. Miami
boat ramps. Yeah, check that out. It looks hilarious already. Oh, good Lord. I finished over spring break. We talked a little bit about this. I watched all of WandaVision. I started The Punisher. I watched both seasons of The Punisher. And then I realized, oh yeah, Daredevil season 3. Never watched it. It's excellent. It is excellent.
I remember that being good. That's when he's back, right? The big man?
Yes.
Big man?
Yes. And the whole plot is he wants to see if I could do something for Vanessa. He's a fucking lunatic. He's good
great
on that show.
Yeah, he's why I watched it.
He's so good. Season 2, if the Punisher wasn't in season 2, I would have been like, blah. Why did I even watch any of this? But just hearing him and then murder people makes me feel better. That whole season should have the main story should have had nothing to do with Elektra or any of whatever that bullshit was with the Chinese lady, whatever it was. Should have all just been the Punisher trying to murder people and Daredevil trying to make sure he doesn't murder people, and I'd have been much happier.
Will you stop trying to murder people? Did it again.
I'm not the one who dies. I'm the one who does the killing.
He's good too.
Yeah, he doesn't. He almost dies so many times. And you know he's not going to, but it doesn't. They make it definitely look unpleasant. They really.
Well, with the way they cancel these Netflix shows, I'd buy it. Every false finish, I'm like, they're probably killing him because they're not continuing the show.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that eat shit in these shows that I wasn't expecting. But I'm hopeful. So it's 2 years. I've looked into it. That's officially what it is. 2 years. They can't appear on anything other than these Netflix shows. And for most of these shows, that 2 years was up like in 2020. So obviously no one's chomping at the bit to get something started in 2020. But they're all freed up now. So hopefully something's in the works. I know John Barenthal and was it Charlie Cox that plays Daredevil?
Yeah.
They both were like, can we please do more stuff?
Like
It'd be
to
nice.
work.
Yeah.
Especially Charlie Cox. I haven't seen him in anything. Every now and then I see Garanthal or whatever his name is because he's very recognizable. He's got these very strong features. Jesus. But I haven't seen Cox since.
No, and he got shredded as fuck to be Daredevil. He probably is like just clinging on to that. Like, I don't want to lose it.
No, he's fat as fuck right now.
I don't want to lose it. Make me use this. Oh yeah. So my hopes are they got canceled. I don't think I went into this on the show, but I looked into why these went away, and Netflix foot the bill for everything. So these are Netflix shows, so they paid everything and paid Marvel Studios to use the characters in their shows. And Netflix's thinking was like, well, yeah, the shows are successful, but cost us a lot of money. And now we don't have any other Marvel streaming content. You know, you can't watch Avengers on Netflix anymore like you used to be able to. So the reason Netflix makes original shows is to get you to subscribe, and the rumblings were, well, yeah, you see that big red Marvel logo at the beginning of the show, and it just reminds people, they're like, oh yeah, if I want all the other good shit, I have to get Disney Plus. So like from a marketing perspective, it just wasn't making sense for them to pay to produce the show and pay to license the characters, and ultimately they don't really get anything out of it like they used to. So fine, fuck it, let Disney do it.
So they're just like, just sit there, Daredevil.
Yeah, he's just
There,
waiting.
Punisher.
He's waiting. I've heard rumors that he might pop up in some of the Doctor Strange stuff. Like
That's
there's
great.
supposed to be a Doctor Strange show, I guess, and he might be on that.
I like Fisk. I'm a villain guy, and I think he's fantastic.
He's amazing.
So sprinkle him with some of the Spider-Mans. I don't even care.
Yeah, I wouldn't even care.
X-Man.
If you just give me like a straight up Daredevil season 4 and there's no other weird crossing over shit, I would love that. But I have a feeling that it wouldn't be quite the same, because the same people making it wouldn't be making it.
Have a story where Fisk is bankrolling Doc Ock's crazy experiment. I don't know. You do some team ups where you just have all the fun villains.
Yeah, in the comic books,
he's got to get them all. He's like, I got to do some killing though. So come here, Punisher.
They did some cool crossing over in the comics. There was a lot of Daredevil and Spider-Man, a lot of Punisher Spider-Man, Punisher Daredevil. Kingpin was a bad guy in a lot of people's stories. In the comics, Bullseye gets an adamantium skeleton enhancement, somewhat like Wolverine. So there's some Wolverine Daredevil shit, Wolverine Punisher. There's all good shit to do. Just don't.
Wolverine Punishers was probably a lot of fun. They were just
like who lives in that?
Yeah, they were just fantasy booking shit.
Who survives in that story? So the shame of it is, for me at least. Now, I didn't watch Jessica Jones season 2 yet, or I don't think I finished Luke Cage season 2. But for me, other than Iron Fist, which I can't be bothered to watch any of that. I heard about how bad it was. I watched The Defenders, saw how he was the worst part of that, and his whole storyline was the worst part of that. And I just kept on moving. But let's forget about that one. They were all good. They were all still good. It wasn't like, it's season 15 of Supernatural, I think it's time to call it quits. No, it's season 2. Can I get 5 seasons?
5 seasons, like Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, it's going to be. See, Netflix is fine. Netflix is doing fine. They just don't want to pay Marvel to make you remember that you need to get Disney Plus as well.
I'm so salty that they're not doing Mindhunter anymore, because they were just teasing BTK at the end of season 2 into season 3, which doesn't exist and it won't ever exist.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, another big dog, because they had a Charlie Manson scene in there, which is great. And I was just like, yes, let's do it. Let's see these guys hunt down BTK, try, coming up with new investigative serial killer techniques, because that's what it's all about. The originators of all that shit. But no, what's his name didn't want to do it anymore. Fincher, I think it was David Fincher. He's like, it's too hard. Fuck you.
What's in the box? Isn't that him?
Yeah.
So,
son of a gun.
That's another thing. Daredevil ends, if they never make another Daredevil season or Punisher, they leave it open at the end. I won't spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen them. They leave it open at the end, but they don't leave you on a cliffhanger. They don't necessarily set up what's going to happen in the next one. They just leave it open, just in general. What's cool about the end of Punisher is the last scene is very much reminiscent of like a typical Punisher comic book scenario, which is neat, because the Punisher show, it's like a regular drama, like 24 or something. It's not like a comic book type atmosphere, which is fine. But then they do give you a little taste at the very end, and it's neat. It's pretty cool. I liked it.
We'll see.
You can't end on a high note and then just disappear, right? Who does that? Especially Disney, like or Marvel. Okay, we get these back. This is just money. Let's print more money.
Yeah, I'm sure they already have the scripts written, showrunners picked out. They're just waiting.
And when you think about with Disney as well, what they did in making Spider-Man finally really good, and then it was, you know, the news came out they were going to split, and Sony and Disney couldn't work something out, so Sony was just going to do it, and then the fans were devastated, and then they were like, okay, let's sit down at the table and renegotiate this and figure it out. So it's not like Disney doesn't have a history of wanting to do whatever they can to get this shit done. So once it's like they don't have to pay either. Once the 2 years is up, then it's their characters again, and they can do whatever they want with them.
Yeah, but what are they going to do with Punisher? Going to spray him with a super soaker and shit?
No, I think he'll just murder people with his guns.
No, I don't know about that one.
I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be as graphic on screen.
It's not going to be on screen.
But there's definitely murder in the new. That was one thing that really never came to light when people were worried that Disney bought Marvel, so now the Marvel stuff's all going to be soft, and that didn't really come to pass at all.
For example,
well, Disney bought Marvel before they made the Netflix shows.
But have they produced anything?
So at
the level of the Punisher Netflix show?
No, not at the level of the Punisher Netflix show. But to be fair, they don't have none of these Avengers characters would deserve that. But in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, there's definitely people that just get their fucking brains blown out.
I'll watch it just to see how they do it.
It's
a lot of not blood.
No, there's blood.
Say so.
Some breaking of necks. Like,
hey, all right.
You know, they'll do you. They'll get you.
Now you have my attention.
But yeah, I'm not holding out hope for a Punisher season 3 that's in line with the Netflix show. But I am holding out hope for Daredevil in some form in these. Although
we talked about this shit last week.
In retrospect, I'm glad he didn't show up in Avengers Endgame. As much as I wanted him, I would have popped if he popped out of one of those little holes.
Punisher?
No, Daredevil.
Mm.
I'm like, no, I wouldn't have. It just doesn't fit. You know, it's dark crime drama, secret society, beat people up in the alleys, and I don't think they're chomping at the bit to open a wormhole to have the blind guy punch Thanos.
You never know.
He's not even Spider-Man. Spider-Man would beat the fuck out of him.
He's just there to help.
That's why it works in their little.
He's just their lawyer. He's just their lawyer.
I would love that.
All right, we talked about all this.
We did, but
we're always talking about.
I finished it, and I want
old
more
shit. Let's talk about something new. Let's talk about Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2
in the mini marshmallow.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, new trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife. Just a little mini clip. There is Paul Rudd in the store with spooky music, and the bag of marshmallows kind of comes to life, and their little Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and they go ooh-doo-doo.
But there's a bunch of them.
But there's a lot of them, and people seem to love it. It was not on par with Baby Yoda, but people were pretty excited about little baby Stay Puffs. I didn't care for it, but whatever. It's a 20-second clip. Doesn't mean it. It doesn't mean a lot to me. But that's cool. But Bill Murray was giving some interviews. I think he was talking with John Carpenter, and
no, he wasn't.
You never know. It's from Dread Central, so it could have been. But two little notes from Bill Murray. The first one being about afterlife, because some of these guys are going to be in that movie, and who knows what's going to happen. But Bill Murray did confirm that he will wield a proton pack in the new Ghostbusters movie. So he's gonna have the stick.
Oh, them neckbeards are gonna come.
Oh yeah, yeah. You say it like you're not talking about me. I like it.
I'm
I
not.
appreciate that. The other bit, which I mean, that could be fun, that could be lame. Who knows? It could be awkward and cringy, but whatever. But Bill Murray had another little tidbit about Ghostbusters 2. He claims that he was tricked into doing Ghostbusters 2.
That makes it so much better.
Under false pretenses, he says. They got us all together and they pitched some sort of story idea that was really great. And I thought, holy cow, we can make that work. And it ended up being not the story that they wrote, but they got us to do the sequel under false pretenses. Harold had this great idea, but by the time we got to shooting it, I was someplace else. I showed up on set and went, what the hell is this? What the hell is this?
So who rewrote it? Dan Aykroyd?
I don't think so. I think it would have been a lot crazier.
Like some writers, just like some...
Probably.
Like the fucking... like the Gremlins 2 Key and Peele sketch. It's in the movie.
And his head sticks out from the painting and he looks to the left. I love it. It's in the movie. Probably. What else?
The Titanic docks finally, and the people arrive in New York. Yeah, of course, it's in the movie.
It's in the movie. The only reason anyone would want to do another one would be just to make money, you know? They got us all back together in a room, and really, we hadn't been together since the movie came out. It was just really, really fun to be together. We were really funny together. Like, those are some really wonderful, really funny guys and girls. I think he was stoned off his ass during this interview. Sigourney, Annie Potts, spectacular women, and funny as hell. So, yeah, he's just kind of salty. He's just always a salty dog.
He very much is. And I don't always not like that. Like, sometimes I get it. I don't know if I always like defend the saltiness, but you know, all these actors and filmmakers and stuff are also just people at the end of the day. So if they always kind of seem like salty dogs, I'm like, maybe that motherfucker's just a salty dog all the time. I know people, you and I know people like that in real life that aren't actors.
Salty dog.
That does suck, though, to get together and think, you know what, this is going to be cool. And then they just rewrite the movie and you've already agreed to do it.
Well, you know what? He should have been keeping tabs on things. He said it himself. You know, I wasn't really paying attention. I show up, everything's different. Well, pay attention, you son of a bitch.
I mean, it says written by Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd.
Harold Ramis is trying to do the Lord's work.
I don't see any other also written by.
That means it was definitely the suits.
Aykroyd describes his first draft as really too far out, too inaccessible. He wanted to avoid using New York City, and he wanted it to be overseas.
Haunted everything.
So, Aykroyd and Ramis. Okay, so then they get together. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm looking for the little blurb in here where it's like, and then we had 4 other people come in and change it.
Or they just kept tweaking and revising the script. And Bill Murray was like, it's not as loose as it was.
Yeah.
There's actually lines of dialogue and not just Bill says a funny thing here. You actually gave me lines. I don't know if I like that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go up to her. I'm going to whisper real quiet. And then people are going to wonder, what did he say to Sigourney right there?
Like Oscar was supposed to be Peter Venkman's kid. But Murray didn't like that. So,
well, because he's a fucking...
That I don't want a
so
kid. I don't want real kids. I just want to wear my weird Cubs fishing hat and go watch the Cubs win the World Series.
I think it would have been better if Oscar was his kid.
You do?
I think it would have been. I think there would have been more stakes. I think it just a stronger starting point. I mean, there is always that sweet element of like, oh, he likes this kid that's not his. Like, oh, what a champ. But, you know.
I just like that
stronger attachment.
that they're not together, and he's salty that it didn't work out between them as a starting point.
That would have been a fucking drama, though. It's like, it's about custody of this kid. I hate this movie. Ghostbusters 2, what is this? Kramer versus Kramer? I don't give a shit.
I
Is that what
felt
that was about? What's Kramer versus Kramer about?
it's some child custody movie, yeah.
Whew, nailed it.
But I only know that because of so I've never seen it. I only know that that's what it's about because of the SNL where Sylvester Stallone hosted.
Ooh.
In one of the sketches, he plays himself, and there's a car accident, and Norm Macdonald is in the car, and he's like in and out of consciousness, and I forget who his wife is. It might be like Sherry O'Terry or something, and he's like just shitting on Sylvester Stallone. He's like, "Oh, your movie sucked," and he's like, over the top. He's like, it's a story of a child custody battle mixed with arm wrestling. He's like, oh, Kramer versus Kramer was like that. What was it missing? Oh, arm wrestling. And then, and like towards the end, Norm Macdonald's dying, and he's like, he's like, what? He's like, come closer, let me whisper in your ear. And he whispers something, and Sylvester Stallone walks away, and Will Ferrell comes up, and he's like the ambulance guy or whatever. He's like, what did he say? And he's like, he said, like, what? He said, stop or my mom will shoot, sucked. That's like his dying words. and then Will Ferrell reaches into the car, and he's like, oh, he was going to the video store. He's got a movie in his hands. I guess he was a fan of yours. It's Rambo. And they're like, oh. He's like, oh no, it's a porn. It's Rambone. I'm sorry, it's Rambone.
That's funny. There's a new segment called Jim Describes.
Jim remembers
SNL
from 96 to 98.
And Dale laughs.
That's one of my favorite. To me, that's like a sleeper episode. The best sketch on that show is there are two parts I really popped for. This was in the prime of Norm Macdonald doing Weekend Update, and he would always work in Frank Stallone as a punchline for something. And then it would show like this headshot from 1981. So Frank Stallone is Sylvester Stallone's brother, but he's a singer. He's like a lounge singer guy or whatever. And it would be, for example, it would be like, oh, People's Sexiest Man of the Year is out and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, first place is whoever it was back then, Dylan McDermott, and in a close second, Frank Stallone, and they would just show a picture of Frank Stallone. It'd be the same. He'd be like holding a jacket over his shoulder. It's like the same fucking picture every week. So now Sylvester Stallone's hosting, and he's doing a sketch where he's the old Italian guy, and Sherry O'Terry's an old Italian lady, and he like buys her a new Cadillac, and I'm gonna take you over the bridge to see Frank. She's like, oh, Sinatra. He goes, no, Stallone. He's just as good. And I'm like, oh, they worked in a Frank Stallone with Sylvester Stallone here. But the best sketch was they're in a computer store in the mall, and Tim Meadows is the manager, and Will Ferrell is there shopping for computers. And Sylvester Stallone's like all disheveled, and his hair's going everywhere, and he's like rambling and not making sense. And he's one of the computer salespeople. And he's like, I think you should buy this Star Trek potato chip machine computer. And he's like, you want me to buy the vending machine? And Tim Meadows reveals that, like, look, this used to be an Orange Julius, but the guy just wouldn't leave. So we just let him work here. He's like, just buy the vending machine. And he's like, it's like $3,900. But the whole sketch is this like insane character that wouldn't leave the Orange Julius. And then the big payoff is it's so stupid, but Will Ferrell, the way he delivers it makes me die every time. He's like, he finally, he's like, no, I'm not going to buy the computer. But you know what? I think you're the perfect guy. He's like, I'm Samuel K. Julius, grandson of the founder of Orange Julius. And I think you're just the guy to head up our European division. And it ends with him selling Orange Julius in Germany. But he says things you can't say on TV anymore.
You can't say that on
So I'm not
television.
going to say it on our podcast, for sure.
You can't say that.
I need one with
Different
a
times.
Pentium processor. it's good.
So there's was it Thunder Express on Netflix? Melissa McCarthy comedy.
Superhero thing.
Couple ladies get superpowers, which I was kind of psyched about because some Melissa McCarthy movies are funny. It depends on who's directing them. It sounds like the ones that are directed by her husband are dog shit, and the ones that aren't tend to be pretty funny.
I'm reading between the lines here. Dale's just trying to work his way in there.
I'm just
you need a better husband.
It's like you can just keep you keep fucking him. Just let me write your.
You need a writer husband. You don't need a director husband.
Because he's the guy that was in. Did you see the fake Ghostbusters?
What?
Did you see the Ghostbusters 2016?
Oh, no.
Okay, because there's a scene. I was gonna describe it. He's the one that I think fires the ladies from the campus, and it's a big improv scene, and he's giving them the finger in funny ways, like he's like a wind up box, all that jazz, and he's doing a bunch of them. Apparently, he was known for that, like in his stand-up days, like that was one of his bits. Hilarious,
doing the Jack in the Box middle finger.
Yeah, but I just wanted to set the scene. Like, who's her husband? Well, who's this not funny man?
He's also in Bridesmaids. He's like the
he's
Sky
funny
Marshal.
in that though. Yeah, he's funny in that though. But yeah, because I was actually kind of looking forward to this. I was like, a couple, normal ladies get superpowers. I'm like, that's a recipe for entertainment for me. But it sounds like it's not. So just some garbage. And then I see this headline, more fucking garbage. Kevin James, and I'm not shitting on Kevin James. I actually like Kevin James. But Kevin James is going to be in an upcoming Netflix movie called Home Team, where he's going to be playing NFL head coach.
What?
You want to fill in that gap? You want to know which head coach he's going to be playing?
Home Team. Okay, he plays a real head coach? Is this like a biopic? Head coach.
Sort of. They're playing it for laughs.
They're playing it for laughs.
It's a comedy. So just, if you can name five.
A real head, is it like current or recent or like all time?
Yeah. I think he's got a couple Super Bowl wins, at least one.
Who's the top Andy Reid?
And see, that makes sense. That's a very good pick. No, it's not Andy Reid. I'll give you one.
It's not Bill Belichick.
No, but that would also be fucking hilarious. Jim, you're hired. It's in the movie.
I'm in the movie.
No, he's going to be playing NFL head coach of the New Orleans Saints, Sean Payton.
What?
I know. And I don't know if this is like an insult to Sean Payton or if it's a compliment to Kevin James. I don't know. I don't see it is the thing.
No. No. Where's the funny?
Well, here's the funny. It's actually a pretty funny premise.
Hey, I'm gonna give you bonus if you give all these guys concussions.
So it's about Sean Payton's time coaching his son's 6th grade football team in 2012 when he was suspended from the league for his role in the bounty scandal. So he was suspended that year, and he was like, "I'm just gonna coach my kid's football team then, because that's what I fucking do."
That's where it ended up.
And this is about that lost year of Sean Payton, like the Bible, the lost years. Like what happened? Well, Kevin James was in the desert. Is what happened.
He wrote the Gospel of Thomas. Well, didn't Thomas write that? No, Kevin James did in the desert.
And I'm not trying to insult the man, but I do hope not that you want to go full Christian Bale for a Netflix comedy, but I hope he drops a couple LBs because Sean Payton's not, a husky man.
He's not even like a big guy though. Like if Kevin James got in shape, he'd still be pretty massive. He's like a gorilla man.
Yeah, he's a wide man. So interesting choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that headline.
Sean, I never would have picked him. If you gave me 25 more tries, I wouldn't have picked Sean Payton.
That's why I killed it at 2. I was like, all right.
I thought it was like, is it going to be like old timey? He plays George Hallis or something?
Netflix, give me a call here. Because something's going on over there. You're just writing these blank checks to every Dick and Sue that walks in with a half-baked idea. And look what you got.
You got so many 3/4 baked ideas.
Oh, they are fully baked.
Oh yeah, well they don't even
Fully.
come at him without.
Fully baked.
There better be 8 figures on that check if you come at this man for any of his completed works. But if you
And
want
what-
a 3/4 baked idea, give him a call.
Yeah, don't even talk to me about bumping the night. I don't trust you with it. I don't trust you with that bag.
Not after this shit.
I'm like, Kevin James in each one of your segments in your horror anthology. I'm like, what? Why?
You're hired.
He's the voice of the dog in the one segment is going to be Kevin James. That could be fun though.
Or Vin Diesel.
I'd like that, or regular Diesel.
You need to write something that has Vin Diesel playing Diesel. Who are we going to get to play Diesel, pal? Oh, how about Vin Diesel?
Super Diesel.
Diesel squared.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing when The Rock makes fun of the Diesels. He does the little air horn. He's like, this 7-foot piece of trash.
He was good.
He's still good. 40% of people want him to be president of the United States.
That's
of
pretty
America.
good. It's a good amount.
And you know what? If it comes down to if old Orange Boy is alive and is threatening America's sovereignty with his shit again, I'll take The Rock. I don't want The Rock, but I want not the other guy to be in there, and I think The Rock would beat the shit out of him.
Yeah,
In real life and in the promos and on social media.
Don't say its name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Don't
It
say
feeds
its
off
name.
of it.
Oh yeah, he would shred him. This guy has never done live TV like this.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Let's get in office.
Flapjacks. He had so many good promos, and he just started doing that third person talking about himself thing, and it just immediately worked. Like then his character just came alive. He went 100% in. I remember not caring for him at the time because I just didn't want to, but man, he was so good.
Yeah.
And who is beaten Austin at WrestleMania? Like other than like Bret Hart beat him, but that wasn't the main event. Because like Austin won the first match, in the second match, and Rock won the third match. So who else is like beating Austin for the belt at WrestleMania? Nobody, right?
Select few, to say the least.
Like in the main event for the
Say the
title,
least.
just The Rock. His last match, Austin's last match was at WrestleMania 19. The Rock beat him. Therefore, The Rock's the new president. It's in the movie.
Rock's the president. Stone Cold is his vice president.
Oh, maybe Secretary of Agriculture.
There we go.
Something with the hops and the barley.
And to bring this back where we started with WrestleMania 2-night extravaganza. So the main event of night 2, you had Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge in a 3-way. And Roman Reigns wins. And he's a heel now, and a very good heel. His whole thing is he's like the tribal chief and head of the table, real mafia boss kind of stuff. It's super cool. And he wins. And it's very intense, and he's looking at the camera, and he just kind of says, "Acknowledge me." He just says, "Acknowledge me," in his scary voice that he does, and he does stuff like that all the time. And I haven't seen anyone pick up on this, but I'm like, does no one else see that this is just the start of a slow burn angle with The Rock? He's not talking to us. He's not talking to the locker room. When he says "acknowledge me," they're building. They're building Roman Reigns and The Rock for next year's Mania.
Can you imagine if they are? Man, that's good shit, pal.
Super good shit. I hope I'm correct on it. Be nice.
Not talking to the fans. He's talking to The Rock, and they could slow burn that for a while too.
And it got me thinking. I was like, I can't even really think of The Rock on social media where he's like, yeah, shout out to Roman, another good defense love my
Right.
family, love
Right.
love family. He never does that, and I'm like, that's probably intentional too. I was like, these motherfuckers have been working behind the scenes on some stuff. I love these Cardis so much.
What's a
I love
mark?
it. Yeah, and if give me somebody in the wrestling business in the White House, because it seems some people struggle with these snakes and these games that are played. I think The Rock would be able to handle it just well. Just fine. It's not going to be new territory.
No, I don't think so.
Rock.
He won the goddamn Monday Night War.
He did. Let's plug it up here. Miami boat ramps on YouTube. It's a very good YouTube channel. And of course, our Patreon, patreon.com/notlikethis. Got some good stuff there. Got some good stuff brewing. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have saw a sneak peek of something coming down the chute here. Jim, do you have any plugs for band stuff?
I do. May
Yeah.
22nd. May 22nd is a Saturday at Beer Geeks. You can see Dad Bod live, our first show in over 12 months. We're looking at 14, 15 months between shows, which sounds crazy when I say it. But we will be back at Beer Geeks on May 22nd. That's a Saturday. You can get all the details when they are available at facebook.com/dadbodlive.
Of course, I post these episodes on facebook.com/notlikeThisPodcast. And that will do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Frank Stallone.
And I'm Brother Titus.